Welcome. We have E Keys as our musical guest, blessing us for this first show for the season. Spirit Talks. We're back. We're on IG with Nippawas Moon and E Keys. Go ahead and bless us, King.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Yes.
Appreciate that. We can take it back to it's simple. I love it. Having you near me, having you here. Our conversation outrageous. You smile, and I smile, and I say, hey, it's getting personal. I'll stay for say, let's get caught in the moment. Giving you the best of me. Amazing, outrageous.
Tell us everywhere
Well,
we can find you.
I'm mainly here on Instagram. So if you're here on Instagram, this was my main stuff is going to be. So if you want to see some videos, come to Instagram. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. That's E Keys, you guys.
All right, wrong button.
Welcome.
That's cool. That's a clue.
All right.
Riley.
Tracy, welcome. Everybody, welcome. How you doing out there?
Honestly, I realized with my book, I'm like, oh shoot, hold up. Something ain't right. So I had to go back. So I just finished 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
So now I gotta upload it and do all of that different stuff. But besides that, I'm peachy. Tired but peachy. What's going on with you?
You know, I'm just here with you. We got blessed by that beautiful music. You are a man of many talents and many gifts. So
Appreciate it.
Yes, you've got your Eloquent clothing line. You are an educator and have been an educator for many years. You wrote a book.
Criteria of a Man. Yes, I did.
Criteria of a Man.
Yes,
You
I
did.
did.
So tell us about it.
Working in the elementary school, and I just started observing the dynamics, the beginning of the condition. So I started noticing how everybody was being labeled stuff. There was gay started becoming more prominent and noticeable in the school systems way back even at them young ages. And I noticed a lot of my students and stuff was ridiculed or bullied and stuff. So I started thinking about, like, if a person is born what they're born, why are we living by other people's criteria when we have different lives? So I started journaling everything in my own life, everything I witnessed for like the past. I have 11 books, so I've been doing this since 1999, but I've been writing on loose sheets of paper since 1997. So I forget when, but because I need to make this a book. Because the original whole thing was a greeting card company. So the greeting card company turned into a book. And thus we have the Criteria of a Man. So it's basically a self-journey, self-realization book. I have poetry mixed into that. So I mix poetry into that too.
When I spoke to you the other night, you said that it was not just necessarily for a man, even though it's titled Criteria of a Man. It's not just for men.
You see, and I don't understand because it's all women that liked it. I created a private group years ago and was putting up excerpts.
Right.
And it's all women. I'm like, yo, there ain't no dudes sitting in there. Like, it's Criteria of a Man. And then I realized women have sons. They have little boys. Or they're curious about a man's life written in the perspective I did, because even in my journals, I made sure that I wrote exactly how I felt when it happened. So I can go back and look at a date like January 2014, 8:08 a.m. I mean, I wrote a specific date so I can always go back. But I wasn't thinking of it for a book. It was more like, say my son, when he's older, I have a 27-year-old son now, but at the time he was much younger, that if anything happened to me, he would be able to read about his father from his father's own words. And how powerful is that? Say 5 generations from now, that book is still there, and they get to read about their great-great-grandfather from his words and not somebody else's interpretations about who he is, his own definitions,
right,
and not get caught up on how everybody wants to tell what somebody else is thinking. Like, you can never know what somebody else is thinking.
The next question, which is the inspiration behind the title of the book.
Title of the book. Man, I made the title,
Criteria
I think, in
of
1999. Yeah, I think I made the title in 1999, and I loved it. So I made sure I put it on my Black Planet page. So it was on Black Planet. I wanted it on everywhere, so that way they knew
Hey, I
was the first.
Right.
Yeah, I was like one of the first people on there. I made sure that they knew that is my title, so somebody ain't gonna steal it later. But if you think about it, criteria, everybody has a criteria. So instead of writing the definition of a man, it's basically criteria. It's like you have to be, now it's beards. Like you can tell I'm 49. I ain't have a beard yet. I ain't getting a beard. That's all you getting. There's many criteria that everybody, even women, you have to live by. There's so many outside people trying to tell you how you need to be or what you need to feel. I mean,
right.
Like, why? Why is somebody that concerned about you? Especially when a guy tries to tell me something. I'm like,
right.
You be looking at me like that? Like, how am I be looking at you like that? Jeez. Jeanette Grant was a publisher. She sat there. She thought my book was already out. So she called me in 2019 and seen how I was doing. And I let her know I didn't even release it because I haven't had it edited. And she took it, edited it for me for free.
Okay.
And then put it out. One making the hardcover, helping me with the hardcover version in July. So July will be the hardcover. So right now it's an ebook. It's not a hardcover book yet.
So tell me, what did you learn about yourself in the process of writing the book?
That I ain't a hoe no more.
Hey, we ain't no hoe no more.
I had it in. Yeah, it has nothing to do with my back getting bad now. It has nothing to do with a bad back. But no, I learned that this is why I say everybody should journal. I got to see my own growth. To be able to go back right now and see Oshun 5 years ago, who's writing authentically in her book how she was feeling, not writing like somebody's gonna read it. Don't write in your journals based off of somebody reading it. If you say you want
How'd
to
you
punch
throw me in
somebody in the
there?
face, write punch them. I had to go back because one of the girls that bought the book, I was like, yo, did I put her in the book? Like, did I put her name? I didn't get her permission. Like, shoot. And I did find out I did put her in the book, but I only used the first letter of her name when I wrote about her. So
And you said that you got permission from each woman who's mentioned in the book to have their
the
name.
other
Okay.
ones.
So you
Shoot,
didn't
my
do.
Virgo.
Why not do fictitious? You didn't want to. You didn't want to do fake names.
Nah, that's why my book is called the non-novel,
Okay, I saw that.
because a novel is fictitious, and this is all truth. There's nothing fictitious in it or something trying to pump me up, but it goes deeper into the mind of this man. You know what I mean? I may not be the mind of every man, but I knew that you're going to get a deeper look into this man. And the fact, like you say, through astrology, able to read people, know about chakras, all that different spiritual stuff, it gave me the opportunity to also show that and display that. So, you gotta love it. But yeah, the name, there was no way I'd given up that title.
This is Nippawas Moon, Sun Moon, and he will be reading an excerpt from his new book, Criteria.
Well, this right there would just, yes, this would just be the introduction. So, beat the sun this morning in a race to wake up. The sun has always gotten the best of me for most of my adult life. Going more into depth into self, life has gotten the better of me, while at the same exact time has kept its reach in my sights. This morning at 6 a.m. was different though. I am 37, about to turn 38, and my experiences to this point have borne many fruits. What is so peculiar on this day, a Tuesday, which is the same exact day of my birth in 1973, is that my life has been lived for someone else. It has been spent trying to follow standards of society that did not align with my own feelings or common sense. How I should interact with my family, how I should pursue marriage, the popular idea of what a real man should be, and of course, what it means to be black. This morning, it caused an internal conflict within myself. Being born in Aries in March, this dis-ease did not sit right with me. Did not sit right, like being a novice at a poker game trying to bluff with a bad hand of cards. These internal conflicts were invisible to the outside world because I wore my mask very well. Yet it affected how I acted daily and how uncomfortable fear made me when I retired each night. My demeanor was not congruent with how I felt. So many criteria were told to me by women, strange men, parents, and even books like the Bible. They are confined definitions of a criteria of a man. So that's just part of the introduction. So it's basically,
Thank you.
yeah. And then, yeah. So on that day, I just realized, like, some of us don't fit in. None of us really fit into a box.
We don't.
Like,
It's the labels. So in society today, I would say there's a lot of labeling, whether it's mental health or the role that you're supposed to play or how you're supposed to act within a certain, most definitely. Yeah.
yeah, so if there's 10 things, like, like when you get sick and you start looking it up on the internet, and it'll be 10 things, and you just see one thing that matches what you were saying, you're like, oh,
No,
I got cancer. Oh, I got this. Yeah, well, I'm a hypochondriac, but I used to be. But that's what it is. Like, most people, nobody fits into one box. I don't think there's anybody on earth that fits into one box. How they say they can tell who a serial killer, all these different things. There's no way anybody can fit into one box because it's what happens in their life is going to create the way that they act and interact. with people every day. And the best thing about it is you can always change. That's the one thing they don't teach.
Yes.
It takes
And
1 second to change.
We do change.
Oh,
That's the
yes,
part
yes.
that needs to be more normalized. We can replace the word change with evolve, but either way we do.
Cycle. If you start realizing you're having the same situations occur with people with different names, then it's something in yourself. Like that's, if you want to say what I learned most about through my book and my writings and going back in my journals, is the fact that I realized that there's one main character in every single scene, and it's myself.
Is that the common denominator?
It's always a common denominator, but the best thing about it is then when you realize, like, oh shoot, well, I don't like the way that things have been happening, I'm going to change. And then you make that conscious change, and then it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens little by little because you recognize you want to change. Right. So when things happen, you'll be like, ah, shoot, I did it again. Mm-hmm. The more and more you catch yourself, the less and less it occurs. So therefore, it's no longer part of you. So when people say working on shadow work, that's what you're actually doing. You're working on the shadow pieces of yourself, and you're bringing light to them. And when you bring light to them, it brings you a bigger glow within yourself. Want everybody to journal. Don't call it a diary, men. I didn't remember when girls, when I was first doing it, like trying to steal my books when they went in the house because they knew I had books in, and I'd be catching them reading when I'm coming back from the bathroom. Like, get out of there. Why ain't I in it? Sure, I'm about to put you in it. This nosy ass girl. I mean, I'm about to put you on this date. But the journals, I advise everybody to keep a journal. Everybody. And if you got kids, I would suggest you keep journals with them, for them. Why? Where they get to write in the journals how they're feeling, and it's their own private feelings that you cannot get mad when you read it, if they allow you to read it.
Okay.
See, we know each other, so I'm looking at your faces. I'm like, the Scorpio.
No, I absolutely agree. So journaling's great. If you're a kid, if you're an adult, it's great. It's absolutely great. I was just talking on stream the other day to a gentleman who said he wanted to start a business, but he doesn't think that he can. And I said, you absolutely can. And I showed him my little trusty dusty notebook that's falling apart, pages coming out, falling off, right? But I done manifested and affirmed, and my SpiritTalks is in there, my Avid Youth is in there, what I'm doing, it just helps you. It's another place to see something. So when I speak about doing affirmations and manifestations, I always express having something that you can visualize. So it's many ways you can do it, right? You can verbalize it, you can visualize it, you can feel it, all the senses.
And use all your senses. Now you're going to get me going in the spiritual part, but you use all your senses. Close your eyes. Like, feel it. Smell it, even if it doesn't have a smell. Like, sniff, because it's the air around you that will leave you in your brain that sense of that situation. Like, some people can remember the first time they ate a certain food they never had again, but the taste and all that, if they close their eyes, they can still experience it. Like, the brain is the biggest supercomputer that a man can never create. So start using it, because the only one in control of it is yourself. Definitely.
So are there any books or podcasts or documentaries or anything that you would recommend to the people who've been listening? And then afterwards, if anyone has a question that they'd like to ask.
I always say The Alchemist. It's funny, Will Smith was the first one I heard for 4 years to saying, oh, I read The Alchemist, you should read The Alchemist. He was being interviewed by a guy named Tavis Smiley. He used to be on BET. He had his own show. Mm-hmm. And I would say definitely The Alchemist, because you'll learn about personal legends and the journey of a man. So my book is sort of like The Alchemist, but without it being fictitious. It's actual, my journey. Ooh, The Richest Man in Babylon. Yes. I can't even tell you who it's written by, so you just write it up and you'll learn about the law of money. And what's another book I would suggest that's not my own? I would have to say Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay.
And when I read that, I read it as a spiritual book. And it's funny, before the law of attraction and the secret and all that, it's basically talking about that. If you look at a rich man, if you're talking junk about Donald Trump and how he got money and that's why he's successful, then you're saying to yourself, you don't want to be successful. You're judging another person's pockets, like how they got to where they got to. When you're focused on another person's pockets, then you're going to keep lending your own. Like, you really, really have to be truthful with yourself, and you really, really have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, from Rich Dad Poor Dad, understand that the words that you're using is creating the reality that you're living. It's that simple. Like, when you say I don't have enough money for something, then you're always going to have not enough money for something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So the self-talk.
Yeah, you have to. And
The
self-talk is
self-talk,
so
the
important.
internal narrative, it goes back to that, right?
Yeah. So that's basically, like, it's funny, the criteria of a man was the law of attraction and everything before any of it actually ever came out and people talked about it. So that's what it is. I actually have 3 books. So, and 1 noveletta. I just haven't released them. So this is the first one I actually had Janet, Miss Jackson, Janet Grant do for me, and she restructured it for me, put it how a book, because she makes books, how it's supposed to be. And that's another thing. Stuff, when you start living your purpose, your life is going to start aligning. So if I sat there like, oh, I don't know a publisher, I don't know this, she contacted me. You know what I mean? Like, things just align. It's amazing how easily, how well it just comes together when you start making yourself come together, when you start taking them shadows within yourself and you start bringing light into your past.
Yes.
That will make you, ooh.
Yes.
Because everybody can accomplish what they really want in life. It's just that some of us older people, over 30, maybe definitely over 35, we've been so much in our ways put in situations that we chose to be in that put us where we gotta make money. We have to do this, have a roof over our head. We gotta do all these things. So it's distracting us from what we truly desire to do and what we would actually be good at and can benefit the whole world with. And the first thing has to go with defining yourself on your own definitions of yourself and not comparing to somebody else, because you never know what that somebody else you're comparing to is actually going through in their own life.
I appreciate you so much for coming
Oh,
on.
man, you were my first interview on Meet Me.
Yep.
You were my first interview on Instagram.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My girl, Queen O'Shun.
Can you tell us what your Instagram is and other places where you can be followed and support of you?
What's my Instagram?
Nippawas_Moon.
Yeah, there you go. Nippawas showing my age. Nippawas_Moon.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Nippawas, so much. You guys, his book, Criteria of a Man, you can get in my link currently on my Instagram, QueenOshun_. You can also go to Nippawas_Moon to his Instagram and his bio. And I currently would like to invite back Mr. E. Keys, if I can.
Uh-huh.
Got something new for you. When it hits you, won't know what to do. Relax, let me move you. Don't resist, is in the air. Just one taste to take you there. Let it flow right through you. I know you're getting tired of the same old thing. I'ma break the rule, I'm gonna change the game. You'll be screaming my name, and I'ma take you places you never seen. Couldn't picture this upon your wildest dreams. Don't fear, cause you're here with me. Let's get lifted. I'm gonna get you high. I'm really gonna blow your mind. You'll get lifted. Gonna feel it in your soul, and maybe we can lose control. We'll be lifted. As I look back on all that I've done to you, my biggest regret, the things that I never could do. I see the light now, baby, it's shining through. I gotta give up the game, I got some changing to do. I won't get high if you wanna get that straight. 9 to 5 if you want it. Keep my tail home at night if you want it. Whatever you need me to do. And when you talk, I'ma listen, give you all that attention you missing. Girl, I swear I'm gonna handle my business just like a real man should do. I can change, I can change, I can change for you. I give up all the places I used to go. I stay out the club, I stay home because I'm with you. I give up all the girls that I used to know. They don't compare, baby, I swear it's the truth. So I'm cool if you with it, yeah, that's right. I give up on the pimping, girl, I'm gonna repent for my sinning, if that's what you want me to do. I get right if you want it, go to church, get baptized if you want it. Girl, you open my eyes and I wanna be much better for you. I can change, I can change, I can change for you. Thank y'all. That's by John Legend right there, so I don't own any rights to that song. So
Thank you, E Keys. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your talents and your gifts. You guys, please follow Mr. E Flat Minor, E_flat_minor_ LLC here on IG. This blessed individual, I appreciate you. Nippawas, thank you for coming and being so open and vulnerable and being willing to share this book that you wrote, to talk about it, to get into it a little bit and share that with us. Is there any other words you want to share for us?
Know thyself.